Hey guys, George from SoundTraxx here, and this week we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about speakers. We're going to discuss the choices that you have to make when it comes to picking a speaker for your model. We're going to talk about baffling, and then we're going to show some features of the decoder that can help you with your speaker selection. So let's get into that now. Now, when it comes to the Econami 2 sound files that we put into the decoder, we've given you the full spectrum of sound. And what that means is we've given you all the low frequencies as well as the high frequencies. Now, we have a 7-band equalizer built into the decoder that we're going to show you here in just a few minutes. But there are other companies out there that boast and say that we don't need an equalizer because we've pre-filtered that sound for you. Which is exactly what it means. It's pre-filtered. They've reduced those low frequencies so you can't get them no matter what speaker you choose. Now, as you can see here, with a wide range of different speakers that are available, you're going to find different limitations. Typically, the smaller the speaker, the less low frequency that the speaker is going to be physically able to reproduce. Now, one of the minimum exceptions into this is our Minikube speaker. And as we know, the Minikube speaker can reproduce down to about 200, 250 hertz, which is pretty low considering its size. And when you put multiples of these in a model, you're going to get a much better sound response. Now, with SoundTraxx, we have a wide range of different speakers and so forth that help allow you to pick a speaker to best fit the model that you've chosen. So with that, let's take a look at some examples. Now, first up, we're going to take a look at our 28mm round. Now, just in an effort to help the sound come through more cleanly, I've reduced the volume down to about a value of 100 so that way you can hear the individual sounds. So with this 28mm round speaker, we're going to go ahead and get them moving at about speed step 10. You'll hear the diesel engine kick in, and we'll blow the horn, and we can ring the bell. And we'll bring it to a stop. And you can kind of hear how that sounds. Now, next up, we're going to take a look at our Minikube. Now, this is our small little cube speaker that comes with a baffle. And in this particular model, I've actually got two of them. And so you can hear with the equalizer on, we'll go ahead and notch this guy up a couple of times. And you kind of really hear more of that mid-range. We'll take it back down to idle. And then just to show you the difference, we're going to go ahead and turn off the 7-band equalizer. And now you can see how much of that mid-range has suddenly disappeared. So now, of course, to illustrate, the bigger speaker is going to give you a much better frequency range. We've taken this 3-inch speaker and we've connected it to our decoder. Now, again, you want to make sure that you're using 8-ohm speakers. So we're going to go ahead and notch him up. You can really hear a lot more of that mid-range because this is a much bigger speaker. Now let's see what happens when I turn on my equalizer. You can really boost that mid-range and really hear that low-end frequency, especially coming out of a large speaker. Now let's go ahead and reduce the notching back down to idle. And now we're going to go ahead and mute the locomotive. Now, as you can see, when we boosted the mid and low range frequencies on this speaker, you can really hear a massive difference. Now, with the 7-band equalizer, this allows you to adjust the tones inside your model so that way the speakers that you've chosen, you can boost the frequency ranges that the speaker can reproduce and cut out the low frequencies that it can't so that way you get a more even tone out of the speaker. Now, when it comes to baffling, the way a speaker works is by moving a diaphragm in the suspended frame. Now, that diaphragm creates air pressure waves. Now, the frequency of the waves are the sounds that we hear. The pressure at which those waves are then transmitted as volume. Now, when a speaker cone is moving back and forth, when the back of the speaker is open to the same air that the front of the speaker is, you get a canceling effect, because when the speaker cone moves forward, it creates a positive air pressure wave on the front of the speaker, but then conversely, it creates a negative pressure wave on the back side. With that air being open, it just cancels itself out, and so a lot of times you're going to sound very tinny, especially when you're using a speaker like this. Let's take an example and show you what I mean. So now let's take a listen to our 28mm round speaker unbaffled. Now when the speaker is sitting here, you can hear the sound, but it's not very clear and it's kind of quiet and tinny. And you can kind of hear that. Now we're going to go ahead and take our speaker and we're going to install it into the baffle, taking care not to press on the cone itself. So now, all I've done is press it and put it into the baffle, and you can hear already how much richer that sound is. Now again, I'm going to blow my horn and ring the bell. And you can already hear how much better that sound is. So this is why it's important to have a baffle. Now the ideal baffle dimensions is about an inch, or 1 to 1 to 1 ratio, which means in this 1-inch baffle here, about an inch deep is ideal. Now in many models you may not necessarily have that much space, so some baffle is better than none, so always make sure that you get your baffle and try to get as close to that ideal setting as you can. So now that we've played a little bit with speakers, I hope you'll be able to find the speaker that's in SoundTraxx product line that best fits your model.